Bitcoin just pumped to $97,000, and everyone is wondering the same thing. Are we back, or is this a dead cat bounce? We saw massive inflows into the ETFs yesterday, but BlackRock is no longer dominating the ETF race. So did BlackRock just lose control of Bitcoin's price? And have we finally seen the beginning of the parabolic Bitcoin bull run? Obviously, no one knows. We really don't know. I think this is a timing thing. I think within a month, we will have a lot more clarity of where we are. Though I see everyone in the chat, they're like, if we get to 100K by today, then we might know a lot sooner than a month. But I think within a month, we're going to definitively know where we are in the price action of Bitcoin. As I've been saying, I think we're going to go sideways and start to break up. It's happening as we speak. It's happening exactly as I said. And yet I show Nico this and he's like, bro, dead cat bounce. So these are the two sides of the same coin right now. Anyways, let's go into the source material today, which is very interesting. Remember, whether we like it or not, you got to be watching the ETF inflows because it is telling us what is going on the institutional level. Obviously, the ETF inflows don't necessarily mean that BlackRock or JP Morgan or Wells Fargo or any of these big banks and institutions, asset managers are buying Bitcoin themselves, but it is telling you the appetite of the, quote, retail institutional investor. If they're piling into the ETFs, then obviously they think there is a long-term bullish view of Bitcoin and further, maybe even a short-term bullish take on Bitcoin. So first chart here is the last ETF inflows for about 2 weeks. You can see it's been extremely volatile ever since the October 10th crash. Things have kind of cooled off. We've seen a lot of outflows, but yesterday we saw the largest inflow since about November, I believe it is. And I think this is telling you a lot about sentiment coming from the institutions. Again, you got to compare that to the Bitcoin sentiment right now on Twitter or even in the chat, or even on the show. Me and Nico are split on what Bitcoin is currently doing. We obviously have no clue. We're still kind of using old paradigm thinkings to explain where we are, though from my perspective, my old kind of pattern recognition is starting from when the ETF started. I think that fundamentally changed things. So we really have no clue. But the fact that the ETF inflows are picking up, I think, is a bullish signal. Remember, there may be a lot of us here, Bitcoiners. We are probably all out of fiat. They're the ones with real capital, real deep pockets, and they seem to have an appetite for Bitcoin. So going into this a little further, I'm over here on Yahoo News, and here's the headline. Bitcoin ETFs see biggest inflow in 3 months after reversal outflows. They're linking this to the Trump tariff decision. I saw they were supposed to happen a few times this week. I didn't double check this, whether we're getting them today or if they got delayed again, but apparently the Supreme Court it's going to happen at some point this week. I think it's supposed to happen today, but I didn't check before I went live whether that got delayed more. But I don't necessarily think that is the reason for Bitcoin to pump. As always, when you're in Bitcoin, you're always looking for a catalyst. You're always looking for some kind of news story, some kind of headline to explain why the Bitcoin price is moving, whether up or down. And I think this is kind of what we're seeing here. But going into this again, U.S. Bitcoin ETFs recorded $750 million in inflows, almost $1 billion of inflows. It's a significant number. And then, of course, Bitcoin jumped over 95K. We're currently around 97K. So it looks like the volatility's back in. It looks like there's some life back in the market, though, depending on your perspective, you could argue maybe this is, the last pump before it really dumps, which I'm not really on that boat. Though looking into dead cat bounce moves, not going to lie. It could be the case, though I'm bullish. Anyways, the real interesting aspect of this article, or rather about the ETF inflows, is who is leading this, which I think might be telling us some things, okay? So the Fidelity FBIT led this charge of $750 million in Bitcoin ETF inflows with 351 million inflows themselves, followed by Bitwise's BitB ETF. And then in third, was the BlackRock IBIT with 126 million. So I repeat, Fidelity's ETF 351, Bitwise's ETF 159 million, and then BlackRock's IBIT with 126 million. Now, if you aren't totally well versed in the Bitcoin kind of lore, if you're not on Bitcoin Twitter as much as I am or everyone in the chat, these names might not really be registering what this means, or at least what this means to me. Fidelity's number one, at least yesterday, and also the mechanics of the ETF, from what I remember, it's basically like a +1 filing. So even though we got these numbers and the date is attributed to January 13th, I think these inflows are on a +1 delay for the most part, which means these are probably Monday's inflows that we're covering right now. But the point remains the same. We are finally seeing the ETF inflows recover versus what we've been seeing the last couple of weeks, which is we've seen a lot of outflows. The BlackRock ETF, they've been selling millions, or their customers have been kind of dropping off coins right now. I think it's because of this 4-year cycle concern. But again, remember the names. Top 3 right now, as of yesterday, and just on yesterday's filing, is Fidelity, Bitwise, and BlackRock. Now, why am I making the point to rename and reiterate these 3 banks or 3 asset managers, ETF holders, so directly? Is because, as I've been covering on the show for the last couple of weeks, Fidelity and Bitwise are both extremely bullish on multi-decade Bitcoin runs. They've been adamant about this idea that the 4-year cycle was dead. There's been a Fidelity chart going around essentially saying 4-year cycle is over. They're on corporate television, you know, on the corporate press. The news channels basically saying the 4-year cycle meme has been overstated. That's not what they're seeing because of the institutions, because of the regulatory kind of overchange we're seeing, which I will cover. We do have some updates on this on later in the show. And then Bitwise also said the same thing. Matt Hogan has been saying for the last, actually since Q4 of last year, saying from their perspective, the 4-year cycle is over. The 4-year cycle is dead. Now, could this be just because Fidelity and Bitwise are probably talking to their customers and saying, look, you should be buying right now. The 4-year cycle is done. It's been overstated. This bear market's been overstated. I think we're consolidating and we're going to make our next move up. You could obviously say that, yeah, it's just because Fidelity and Bitwise are out there shilling Bitcoin to their customers. This is why they're beating the ETF inflows. BlackRock has been pretty quiet in regards to the 4-year cycle, where they think the price is going. Though, of course, Larry Fink has been very adamant in saying, hey, it could go to 700K overnight. So what we saw, if this continues, then it really leads into what I've been telling you the last couple of days, which is, in my opinion, it seems like the 4-year cycle meme, the 4-year cycle rhetoric is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If enough people currently believe the 4-year cycle is going to happen, then it's going to happen. On the flip side, if enough capital comes in, it could completely reverse this idea of the 4-year cycle. Though from my perspective, I think the 4-year cycle is broken, leaning on 2 very important metrics, in my opinion. All-time high before the halving, and then, of course, we didn't see a parabolic green year in 2025. The 3 green years, 1 red. I think it's completely over, though there is still the fact that Bitcoin did hit new all-time high 18 months out of the halving. That one metric is still in play. So if you're, tallying up the charts, well, one of the 3 metrics kind of held on. So maybe that means the 4-year cycle is still in play. I'm on the opposite. I'm like, 2 of the 3 metrics didn't hold. Therefore, the 4-year cycle is over. Plus all of the macro factors right now, plus the midterms, I think we're going to see the money printers get turned on into overdrive. And I do have an interesting clip from Trump that came out yesterday, and he said that much, essentially, you need to hold assets. So I'm seeing all these factors. Now I'm thinking the same as Fidelity and Bitwise. I think the 4-year cycle is over, but I do have a new clip from Bitwise. They're talking about the 4-year cycle. So I'm going to play that right now for you guys. They're going to lay out the case, and then I'll chat about it a little more, and I'll do a live price update.
Yeah, so Bitcoin's historically operated in 4-year cycles with 3 strong years and 1 down year. And a lot of Bitcoin analysts expected 2026 to be another fourth year in that cycle and it to be a down year. We released our predictions at Bitwise at the end of last year, and we actually forecast 2026 will be a positive year for Bitcoin. We think that there's multi-year tailwinds and catalysts that drive Bitcoin higher this year, next year, and over the next decade. Those things include institutional adoption, which first and foremost is the largest driver of Bitcoin's price rally. If you look back to when ETFs launched back in January 2024, Bitcoin was trading around 35 or 40,000. Today it trades around 90,000. And that's a function of institutional investors stepping into the space and having so much buying power at their hands and allocating to Bitcoin. 1, 2, 3, 5% of their portfolios now being allocated to Bitcoin. And we think that's just begun.
I agree with this. I think 2025, I've said this multiple times since towards the end of the year, that when you look back on 2025, it's very obviously, at least to me, pointing to the idea that it's the first official year that all the institutions could get into Bitcoin. And what did they do? They tried to get a good positioning. They launched all their products at essentially the 80K bottom. If it holds up, if when we look back at the end of this year, we look back at the 80K kind of October 10th dump, we're going to look back and be like, it was so obvious that Wall Street got into Bitcoin. They played a lot of games with the price to kind of do a short-term price suppression. They launch their products at the exact bottom, and then it starts ripping. Like, to me, that just logically makes sense. And I think 2026 is going to be the year that we see these institutions move into Bitcoin in bulk. Again, they've probably just barely dipped their toe into Bitcoin, and you can see how big of a splash they made in the industry. And I think this is kind of a greater trend that we're going to see. Retail, Bitcoiners, and I'm locking Bitcoiners into retail right now. Us plebs out here, us everyday Bitcoiners, the crypto degens are no longer in control of the Bitcoin price. As all of the statements we've been hearing from these institutions from Wall Street have been saying, it's like, yeah, we love Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not going away. Blockchain, all the things, tokenize all the things, bro. The only thing wrong is the leverage markets. The leverage markets are controlling the Bitcoin price. And what have they been doing? They've been eating everyone's lunch, clearing the leverage, barting it, taking longs money, taking shorts money. And now it seems like either paper Bitcoin year is finally over, or the fact that Fidelity and Bitwise are starting to lead the ETF inflows, and they're institutionally bullish, and they're dwarfing BlackRock right now. I think we're starting to see a battle play out from the institutions. Maybe BlackRock has been suppressing the price. Maybe BlackRock has been trying to build a larger position until something breaks. And this could be the something breaks moment. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't want to say I'm bullish, because every time I say I'm extremely bullish, the price starts dumping. And since I'm going to pull up the price right now, I'm tentatively feeling okay. Here's the daily chart. Again, I've been looking at the daily. You know, the weekly, not so hot, but we're not necessarily going to do some TA, though. I know you guys love the TA. I will do a little TA on here. You know, it's actually looking bullish today. The weekly is looking bullish. And my biggest thing is, this is what I'm seeing here. I think these areas are very similar. And so this is kind of what I'm looking at. Ever since 2024, the institutions changed the game. And we've seen the Bitcoin price do something similar multiple times. Now, you could lay your hat on the cycles. We have 3 cycles, or you lay your head on these 3 data points. It's about the same thing. We don't have that much data yet. Only time will give us enough data. But when I look at what's going on, it does kind of look exactly what happened in March, April of last year. We get a dump, we consolidate, we kind of get a little bigger dump, and then we finally, again, hit the 50-day moving average, and we make a solid move up. It's playing out exactly the same right now. Again, obviously, I don't have much data. I'm speculating. I'm betting that this is what's going on. That's kind of my view of the current price action right now. I do feel and see, hey, we took this level that I've been talking about for a while, 94K. The next real big level is going to be that 100K 100-ish, 102, maybe you could say 107 range. Until we break that range, it could potentially be dead cat bounce, guys, okay? I was trolling this morning with Luke. I'm like, do I just go on and be extremely bullish on the show and I just, you know, lead, lead the chat to the metaphorical slaughter here? No. And what I'm seeing is we're seeing a reversal. We're currently seeing a reversal, though a dead cat bounce is in play. And the only reason I say that, Nico was trolling me because I actually did. I don't know if you guys saw that Trump meme where he's like flipping off someone. So I did a tweet. I'm like, 4-year cycle's dead. I flipped everyone off, and Nico's like, wrong. And then I flipped him off again. And then he trolled me about the dead cat bounce. He's like, dude, it's a dead cat bounce. And so this morning, you know, I do a little research. I wouldn't really call it research, but typical dead cat bounce, you know, it's not too wrong. You could, you know, depending on your perspective, you could say, oh, it's not loading on me. You could say dead cat bounce. It could be in play. I mean, it just depends on your perspective. I choose to be bullish. I choose to see the silver lining. I think we're going up higher. But again, we could bounce up to 100K and then we could drop back down. So until we break 100K, and I'll give it about a month or so, it could be today, it could be this week. I think from a month from now, we will very definitively know where we currently are in the market. That's, I think, the kind of big takeaway. Though, to add to this, this is an interesting headline. It's not necessarily about the ETF inflows, but it is coming from a legendary institutional investor. And further, it is fundamentally breaking the premises of institutions. And I think they're seeing this data currently. And obviously, I'm overstating things. They're probably not really caring about this data, but I said it when Saylor was doing really well. If you are you know, huge institution, corporation, and you're looking at what Saylor did, maybe not right now because he's kind of in a bear market, but if you saw Saylor's gains since he took on the Bitcoin position, it's very hard to see that and not start to FOMO and not see the benefit of what he's doing. Even if you fight Bitcoin, even if you think it's digital, you know, toys or pet rocks or index of money laundering or whatever they say about it, it's hard to look at the hard data and not at the very least think about, should I add Bitcoin to my balance sheet? Now, that's not what this headline is saying, but it is without a doubt showing us that the traditional 60-40 portfolio is just getting cooked right now. So I saw this morning, I wasn't really sure if I should cover this in this segment or somewhere else, but I think it fits in here because of this whole institutional talk. And I think this might be what people are seeing and starting to invest a little heavier in Bitcoin. Obviously, we're still at the 1% to 4%, though, as our boy Brian said yesterday, that's kind of just their conservative cover our ass numbers. If you hear invest 1% to 5%, you're probably like, well, why don't I do more? They're like, yeah, well, you probably should, but I'm just here to protect myself. I'm here for the liability. Anyways, the Bitcoin and gold allocation outperforms traditional portfolios, backing Ray Dalio's 50% hedge thesis, Bitwise finds. So Bitwise analysts found portfolios holding a 15% combined allocation to Bitcoin and gold achieved a Sharpe ratio of 0.679, which basically means, you know, the higher the Sharpe ratio, the better your returns, the better the investment portfolio. Nearly triple the 0.237 ratio of a traditional 60-40 portfolio. Now, I probably butchered what the Sharpe ratio actually means, so you guys could actually meet in the chat, but for us average IQ people, that's all you really need to know. Anyways, the research concluded that this produced the best balance between downside protection and upside participation without the volatility of a Bitcoin-only allocation. Now, obviously, I recommend the Bitcoin-only allocation. Like, if you're under 35, like, dude, what are you doing? Just go all in, you know? Stop being afraid. Just go all in. You don't have any money anyways. Just go all in, all right? You'll be good. But, again, remember the names of the ETF companies that are pushing a lot of volume into Bitcoin. It is Fidelity and Bitwise. So Bitwise is out here basically telling all their customers, and Fidelity as well, like, don't worry about the 4-year cycle. Invest in Bitcoin. Get a good position, at least 15%, whether that's split between gold and Bitcoin. So you could even say 7%, which is higher than what Bank of America has been suggesting, 1 to 4%. I think the data now after 2025, even though we had a negative year, it's starting to show the institution, starting to show Wall Street, starting to show the professional investor out there that you can't ignore Bitcoin. And the data also shows us that even though Bitcoin had a down year, the institutions didn't get shaken out. I think the end of the year data was like 97% of the capital that flowed into the ETF stayed in the ETFs. So I know I give boomers a lot of shit here. Maybe it's an age difference thing. You know, maybe it's because I'm a scorned child. But hey, the boomers coming into Bitcoin, not only are they bringing their capital, but they got some diamond hands. So I'm all for every boomer that gets into Bitcoin and holds it for, you know, even themselves or their grandchildren. You know, if they want to buy yachts with it, hey, who am I to tell you what to do with your money? But I think the signal is spreading. You need to have some Bitcoin. Bitcoin's in the mainstream conversation. Bitcoin is a macro asset now. It is no longer a decision between not owning it and owning Bitcoin. The conversation is how much Bitcoin should I add to my portfolio, which is a fundamental paradigm shift. It's not like, oh, I'm never going to hold this again, or I'm never going to hold this ever. It's, should I go all in? Should I just buy a little bit? Should I just hedge my portfolio and just do a little 1%? It's a totally different conversation. I think we've jumped the hurdle of whether people should invest in Bitcoin or not. It's really, can I go all in and still survive? Am I going to get better returns in Bitcoin than holding the S&P 500? Or maybe 2026 is the year that Bitcoin outperforms gold and silver. Maybe 2026 is the year that I buy a significant chunk of Bitcoin. We have fundamentally entered the conversation of Bitcoin on the macro world stage. It is something you need to hold. And when I play you this Trump clip that I'm about to play you, he's literally saying, if you aren't holding assets right now, you are absolutely going to be cooked. And remember, Nico made fun of me the other day. He's like, oh, Opti's out here saying, like, F the middle class, like, don't save in dollars, you're going to be poor forever. Look, I'm not saying that. This is what the leaders of the world are saying. These are what the people in control of the money printer are saying. I'm just trying to, you know, translate what they're saying so it makes sense to you. And they're telling you one very simple message. They are going to destroy the dollar. You need to buy assets. And I think this is catching on with the institution. So if BlackRock did lose control of the Bitcoin price, or maybe this is just my clickbait scamming on YouTube, maybe it's just a simple supply demand economics, Fidelity, Bitwise, these other large Bitcoin ETFs are finally getting their customers to buy more, to engage more, to believe more in Bitcoin, while BlackRock's been very quiet. There's been, I think BlackRock might be distracted right now with all the other stuff going on, namely that it looks like the CIO of BlackRock might become the new Fed chair. So it looks like BlackRock, or as Simon Dixon calls it, the financial industrial complex, is wholly going to be in control of not only the World Economic Forum, not only the largest asset manager in the world, but also potentially the Fed. And what do you think they want to do? Pump the assets, baby. You know, what was that Trump meme? Pump, baby, pump. But he was talking about oil. I think he was really talking about assets, guys. I think they just want to pump assets to the moon. I think it's becoming very, very obvious. Anyways, I'm going to keep it moving. I'm getting Yet out to play the clip. I'll be right back.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bitcoin Well Infinite. If you're a serious Bitcoin buyer, you've probably hit the same wall. Most platforms make you give up custody just to play by the rules. Bitcoin Well Infinite fixes that. They're North America's only publicly traded, non-custodial OTC desk listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, which means transparent operations and zero counterparty risk.
You buy Bitcoin, you take immediate control, period. For trades over $50,000, you get a dedicated executive Bitcoin advisor, competitive spread starting at 1%, and immediate delivery straight to your own wallet. No custody risk, no withdrawal fees, just institutional grade execution with full asset control. If you want to buy Bitcoin the right way, book a free consultation at bitcoinwell.com/OTC or email infinite@bitcoinwell.com.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, StampSeed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? StampSeed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them down on paper. Paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo, and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on StampSeed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store.
Alrighty then, we are back, and the current Bitcoin price is 96,730. So I jinxed it. We're not at 97K, but hey, we're close enough. Anyways, that is a 23.3% discount from all-time high. If you like Bitcoin at all-time high, you're going to love it at a 23% discount. Who doesn't like discounts? Anyways, the market cap, look at that, boys. Weren't we at 1.88 yesterday? We're at 1.93 trillion today. We're coming for the $2 trillion market cap, and I think this time we will stay there. Don't hold me to it, though. Anyways, the block height, current block height, TikTok, next block. The only time that matters on planet Earth is the block height. It is currently not actually the only universal time. Dude, clock that one. The only universal time on planet Earth is the block height. And it is currently at 932,277. I repeat, 932,277. Damn, bro. I'm cooking today. The only universal time is block height. That's crazy. All right. Anyways, hold on. This refreshed on me. Here we go. All right. So Trump talked yesterday. And, bro, the war between Trump and the Fed is going into overdrive. Now, don't get distracted by the bread and circus here. I want you to listen between the lines here. That's what your job is here, okay? Listen between the lines of what Trump is saying. That's where you're going to get the signal. So here's the clip. Jake Fever, here's the clip, bro. All right, let's play it.
Today, if you announce great numbers, they raise interest rates to try and kill it. So you can never really have the kind of rally you should have. What happens and what we want, we're going to have a lot of great months, a lot of great quarters. I want the market to go up. You announce unbelievable numbers and the market goes down because they know you're going to do everything possible. In the Fed, we have a real stiff in the Fed, but that's for another day. But they raise rates. So everyone says, oh, they announced great numbers. It's great, great, great. And the market goes down because they immediately raise rates. No. When the market goes up, they should lower rates. You want to see 20% and 25%? You want to see what we can do? We've got to go back to an old standard. When there's good news, the market should go up, not go down. Does that make sense to everybody? And that's the way it used to be for most of the time. That's the way you make a country great. But our growth potential is unlimited and could be much higher if we went back to sanity We're not doing it anymore. We're talking about the head of the Fed. And I want somebody that when the market is doing great, interest rates can go down because our country becomes stronger. See, you view it differently. Our country becomes stronger, and therefore interest rates should go down, not up. They kill every rally. If it's, no matter who, if it's beyond me as president, it's no matter who's president. You have a good quarter, and they want to kill it because they're so petrified of inflation. And growth and inflation don't necessarily go hand in hand. You can have growth and very low inflation. In fact, oftentimes growth is good for low inflation. So we're going to work on that, Scott, right? I think we're going to work on that very hard. I mean it so strongly, it's sickening. We announce good numbers and we see the stock market drops 300 points. I say, what the hell is going on?
Yo, love him or hate him. He cooks. He's the funniest president ever. Oh man. Anyways, let's get to the topic here, bro. Oh my God. Look, whether you like him or not is besides the point. Whether you think Trump lies on stage constantly or tells you the truth, you have to take him on his word. What he says, I think he says it very strategically to either, distract his enemies or to literally tell you exactly what he's going to do or what he's focused on. Like, I don't think he is the, 5D psychopathic genius that people think he is. I think he's probably like a high IQ, but also semi-egotistical. So he just tells you what he wants to happen. And it's basically like, I'm going to tell you what I want. And if you can stop me, like, good on you, but you just can't. Like, that's kind of the vibe I get from Trump. And again, read between the lines. The funniest part was like, can we get back to normal where good news pumps the market? Because I got all this good news and they're trying to kill the markets. Again, Trump has been saying for over a year, ever since he was on the campaign trail, that he's looking at the stock market and, of course, the Bitcoin price as a metric for how successful he is as a president. Now, you could look back at his first presidency, and maybe the numbers don't necessarily prove this point, but anecdotally, everyone felt a little richer under Trump the first term. I remember having a conversation with my dad, and over the years, my mom's kind of like badgered him, and so he's like, he'll take me to the side and be like, Trump's still kind of hilarious, but I don't like him. Love you, Dad, but hey, I got to put you on blast here. But even he said, he's like, yeah, I was way richer under Trump the first term. And if he does the same thing, I think he's going to be very successful. Though last year, there's a lot of uncertainty. There was still a lot of fighting coming from a lot of the people that are in positions of power that don't like Trump. And I don't know, he started the year very, very strong. Anyways, when I hear that clip, he basically just said, if you don't own assets, you're going to be poor and destitute. I don't think that as much as the MAGA base, or rather the MAGA rhetoric is, America first, we're for the American people, a lot of the things he does is not necessarily for that. Like there's a huge gap between what he says he wants and what he's actually doing. And I think Simon Dixon's really been on point where, like, Trump works for the financial industrial complex. And, Trump is a huge real estate mogul. So he understands assets and he understands the connection between assets and inflation. And he's basically saying, hey, bro, I want assets, the stock market, equities to rip so that we can lower interest rates at the same time so that we can expand the money supplies so that we can get better, trade negotiation. So they're saying exactly what the Mar-a-Lago Accords are. Lower interest rates, flood the market with dollars. That's how they view they could get out of this position of all this debt by adding more debt on it, or rather making the debt cheaper to pay back because now the dollars are worthless, and then having low interest rates so that people feel like they can invest again. He just said that. He's like, bro, can we get this under control so that whenever I do something good, the stock markets pump, AKA I want assets to pump higher so that my constituents feel richer, so that I can win the midterms, or else I'm getting impeached. Like, guys, He's telling you exactly what he wants. It is get a tattoo of Trump. Bro, I've been the most critical of Trump. I just take him at his words when he's talking about stuff. Sometimes you can't do that. But he's been very consistent on this message of, hey, I want to pump assets. I think it'd be dumb not to listen to him. That's just kind of my view on this. But hey, you know, what do I know? I don't know. I know as much as you do. Anyways, I don't know about that, Jake Town. Not fully aware of this. Anyways, I am going to go into the news because we do have the crypto markup bill coming out of the Senate. There's some interesting wrinkles about this. There's an interesting kind of fight going on that I think we probably should have talked about earlier, but it's happening now. And so we're going to cover it. Anyways, I'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones? They don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and Cash App. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Excuse me. Oh man. I kicked the hornet's nest by talking about Trump. The chat's freaking out about it. Anyways. All right. So there is some crypto markup going on right now about regulations and legislation around, you know, cryptos right now. As everyone's been kind of saying, the regulatory clarity, that's going to be a good thing for the industry. I've been kind of neutral about it. I've been, you know, hopeful that this would be the case, that, you know, have some clear rules of the road, and then maybe we'd be able to move forward from this kind of idea that Bitcoin is, I don't know, some kind of scam, and maybe be embraced a little bit. Though I did tell you that I believe a lot of this regulatory clarity in quotation marks will probably do more harm than good. And I'm only saying that right now because from what I can see, this is most likely the case, though there is a difference between this markup bill and the Clarity Act. Again, I wish Nico was on the show with me, and he was supposed to pop in, but maybe I'm ripping through a little too quick. But this is the Senate talking about the markup bill, and then the House of Representatives has the Clarity Act. So they are touching on a very similar idea or theme, but they're coming from two different areas. Anyways, let me start with this one. First of all, shouts out to Eleanor Terrett. She's been doing some great journalism. She's a real journalist. She's a real journalist. She's got credentials, okay? Anyways, this was on January 12th. So what was that? Monday. She goes, new. The Senate Banking Committee is aiming to file its latest, still bipartisan market structure text before midnight. That was on Monday, after what's been described to me as a doozy of a day, full of intense heartburn from both sides over stablecoin yield, now emerging as the thorniest issue as we head towards Thursday. So Thursday is the day that we're going to finally get a vote, but today as well, we're going to see at least what both sides, the Senate Banking Committee is going to, try to push through. Now, going further here, I will read a little bit of this. This is from our website, Crypto of America. 278 pages, 137 amendments. Crypto weighs new Senate banking bill. Ahead of Thursday's highly anticipated markup, the crypto industry spent yesterday reviewing and reacting to the new text. This was dropped this morning. So it's the eve of the Senate Banking Committee's markup on market structure, which is basically, we have the Senate Banking Committee and then Senate Agricultural Committee, I believe. Again, I wish Nico's here. He's more of a political nerd than me. But they both do this markup bill where they each propose their bill, and then later on they will merge them together, and then that's what will get passed. So tomorrow we will get the final vote on what the Senate Banking Committee is saying. And that's where all this conversation is coming from. But we're getting, again, as we always say, Bitcoin has a way of exposing incentives, and the incentives are becoming very clear with a lot of these amendments. Anyways, and we break down where things stand, plus crypto policy expert, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, crypto industry spent all of Tuesday parsing a 278-page bill filed late Monday by the Senate Banking Committee, the product of 5 months of bipartisan negotiations. It was the first time much of the industry had seen both parties text in full, and reactions have been somewhat measured, with little in the way of overwhelming criticism or praise. Most stakeholders appear to be withholding final judgment until they see the outcome of the amendment details offered by senators, some of which will be voted on during Thursday's markup. Those details hit many of the same focal points of frustration and drama in recent weeks. DeFi now grappling with a surprise new section causing industry heartburn, stablecoin yield, which many crypto stakeholders say is already on life support, ethics, where details remain limited, and a deal between the White House and Democrats has yet to be reached, and a new concern, whether the tokenization language favors traditional finance. There are more than a few things in here we're concerned about, and we need to understand the scope of the amendment and whether they make things better or worse so we can really know what we're dealing with. I've been saying that this whole time. Anyways, amendments are due at 5 p.m. yesterday, resulting in 137 separate modifications proposed by members of the Banking Committee. Now, this is where I think the incentives start to get exposed. Let me go. Was it here? We'll start with Jake Chervinsky, who is, of course, a lawyer, but I forget what he was a part of. Some Bitcoin Policy Institute. I don't think he was Bitcoin Policy Institute per se, but I think it's this one, Blockchain. That's the one, Blockchain Association. Anyways, he goes, there are a few things left that could blow up the market structure bill, and stablecoin yield is one of them. What does stablecoin yield have to do with the market structure, you ask? Good question. Nothing, except the banks have influence and they want their regulatory moat back. And he's quote tweeting, of course, the Eleanor Terrett tweet. Now, moving further, we got this little headline here. JP Morgan CFO says stablecoins that pay interest are, quote, obviously dangerous and undesirable. Translation, dangerous to the bank's business model. And here's like, I guess it's a back and forth. And it goes, JP Morgan fourth quarter earnings, quote, we always embrace competition, Barnum says, but the bank doesn't want to compete against a brand new parallel ecosystem of deposits and interest that has no appropriate regulation. Allegedly, Max Abelson is reporting this for the Finance Reporter. Now, going further, it goes, or rather, before this, Glenn Schnorr from Evercore kicked us off with a question about federal rules on stablecoins and how it might impact bank deposits, not what we were expecting. Barnum takes it. JP Morgan has been, quote, quite involved in blockchains for a long time and has been doing some, quote, really cool stuff on the, quote, cutting edge. We're engaged. We're watching. We care, he adds. Barnum goes on to say that it's very clear that the creation of a parallel banking system that includes something that looks a lot like a deposit that pays interest without the associated safeguards is, quote, an obviously dangerous and undesirable thing. That is the core of our advocacy. So JP Morgan is scared of stablecoin yields, apparently. At least this is what we're hearing here. Now, going further, this is where it starts to get a little interesting. First off, shouts out to Alex Thorne. Of course, he's at Galaxy HQ, I believe. Anyways, he goes, Alex Thorne tweets, Elizabeth Warren has filed 38 amendments to the market structure bill, remove developer protections, more sanctions compliance obligations, more illicit activity powers for government, more AML obligations for DeFi, front ends, repeal positive OCC guidance for banks, gut SEC's ability to allow tokenization. And we have Chad. We got a Chad tweeting, Elizabeth Warren and the Dems work on behalf of the banking elite. That's a fact. Hey, Bitcoin exposes their incentives. Anyways, he goes on, the Dems are working to protect the banks at all costs. That's just a fact, not FUD. Here's a quote. What is threatening progress is not a lack of policymaker engagement, but the relentless pressure campaign by the big banks to rewrite this bill to protect their own incumbency. Their demands to eliminate stablecoin rewards are designed to choke off consumer choice and kill innovative financial products before they can compete. Going further, crypto not happy with market structure right now. Blockchain Association CEO Summer Mersinger says, quote, what is threatening progress? There we go. I just read that. So as you can see, as I stated very early on, as much as I'm okay, or rather I'm tentatively neutral in regards to regulatory clarity, I just inherently knew it was going to be probably worse than better for us. And it's becoming the case that this is probably what's going to happen. So not feeling too good about this per se. I've been saying for a while, it's probably going to hurt us more than we want it to, though everyone's saying, hey, the regulatory clarity is going to make sure that Bitcoin gets to 200K or something. I'm like, man, I don't know. Anyways, we got Bohines. If Democrats kill the landmark legislation that would cement U.S. leadership in fintech simply to score political points, they'll have to explain that choice to voters in November. And he's quote treating Brendan Peterson, senior reporter of Punchbowl News, and he goes, it is very, very likely that this answer from the White House will not fly, Senate Democrats. Many want ethics requirements to cover the president's family, but it's a red line to not cover the president himself. Again, quote tweeting, saying that, hey, it's very close. This market structure bill is very close to getting to the president. Honestly, it seems like it's going to do a lot more harm than good. So that's my take. And I see my guest is in the background, so I will hold on. Let me talk to him. Hey, can you hear me? Can't see you. Okay, dude, it's hard to do the whole show by yourself. So it's starting to look, and we'll get a little more insights tomorrow. I did want to cover this earlier on in the week, but I felt maybe the timing is better. This is happening tomorrow. I don't think there was anything we really could have done. We're not in the Senate. We're not part of these conversations. but this is an update of where we are right now. It seems like, and again, I don't like to paint with a thick brush here, but it seems like the Democrats are fighting this market structure bill, even though it has been shilled as a bipartisan crypto regulation. So again, the Senate Banking Committee will vote on this tomorrow. And then I believe the Senate Agricultural Committee, which is going to give us the other half and their view. So the Senate Banking Committee is really talking about their market structure from the SEC vantage point. The Senate Agriculture is really doing their perspective on crypto market regulation from the CFTC perspective. And the Agriculture Committee, they got delayed until the end of this month. So we are seeing the Senate Banking Committee's take right now. And are you surprised that the Senate Banking Committee is being stalled because of what the big banks want to do? I think it's becoming very clear that, yes, they are bending the knee on Bitcoin. Yes, they're like begrudgingly accepting Bitcoin, but they're doing whatever they can to protect themselves, because not only is really Bitcoin going to disintermediate the big banks, but it's interesting that their main concern is around stablecoin yields. And remember, just a few months ago, they were super excited about stablecoins. It was always like, stablecoins is a new hot thing, bro. And now they're like, actually, we might be getting, we might have let the dragon in, and it's gonna eat our lunch. So here we are, guys. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I think Nico should be on tomorrow. Maybe he can give us his more political take. I already know what he's going to say. You know, the Dems are fighting Trump, and you already know the angle. You already know. Yo, hey, chat, chill. All right, guys. I'm going to move into the culture. We have something very interesting and cool to announce to you guys. I hope there is no hiccups on this. So last commercial break, and we'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technologies. Fueled by clean energy, HIVE has quadrupled its global Bitcoin mining footprint and channels that same scale into high performance compute, where their AI cloud is now ranked #1 in the world for network performance. At HIVE, you've got dual engines, Bitcoin and AI humming, roaring, accelerating in unison. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable digital infrastructure. You can catch the latest buzz at Hive Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, bitcoinben.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Ben's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank. And you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys. Tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth. And join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinben.io. Join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
Alrighty then, we are back. Oh wait, this got up a little too early. Nate Barker, thank you so much for showing up on today's show. We are super proud to announce, I guess at this point, I'll give you the floor. I already kind of blew the surprise here. Officially live here, but Nate, take the floor. What is Moon Match? What are we talking about today?
Hey, it's a pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me. My name is Nate, and I am the developer and partner for the development of Moon Match. Moon Match is our brand new game that we have developed with you at Simply Bitcoin to basically give, it's a brand new game where you can earn Bitcoin as you play. So we wanted to build something that was fun, casual, easy to get started with, and made it super easy to earn Bitcoin. I think there are a lot of people out there who are interested, who are maybe a little reluctant, or not on this podcast. I mean, this is all experts, but who are maybe reluctant to get started, don't necessarily know how to do it. So we made a game. That game is Moon Match. It is primarily like a mahjong tile matching style a casual game, like a puzzle game, and you earn free Satoshis as you're playing. So the entire objective is to make it so that you have to spend no money, you can just play and earn Bitcoin as you're playing. And this is our game, and it's called Moon Match.
Yeah, I downloaded it this morning. It's officially live. I was playing it a little bit. I earned 3 sats in like, I don't know, a minute or something like that. I literally went in blind. I knew we were working on this. I'm actually, though, I do have a bone to pick, though. It's Rustin over here, you know? I was hoping it was me, man. This looks like Rustin, but no, it's cool. I'm joking. It's totally
cool. We only have one model in there. I think one of your questions at some point is, you know, what are some upcoming features and things? So
yeah. You got to get that handsome one, dude. You got to get me. I'm the most handsome one. So.
And his stubble was so hard, you know. We really had to spend a lot of time on that. So
let's go.
It was a lot of fun.
All right. Okay. So here we go. I'm just gonna go for the audience. This is probably the question everyone wants to know. Family Diaz is like, okay, so how do you make money on the game, though? So
how do we make money, or?
No, yeah. I mean, you don't make money. We're literally giving you money. We're giving you Bitcoin. This was just a proof of concept, bro.
Yeah, the whole concept behind it and the way that this stuff works is that we have things like any kind of a mobile game that you're playing where there's, you know, rewarded video ads. So those are like the opt-in style ads and some small in-app purchases. But it's essentially just arbitrage. Like we take that money and then we just convert it into Bitcoin and then we give it to you. Everything is done through a partner called ZBD. If you're playing any rewarded games, and in fact, I think you guys may have promoted or worked.
Yeah, I love ZBD.
ZBD is great.
Yeah.
They're a huge partner of ours. I'm actually going to see the whole ZBD team at next week in London. There's a Pocket Gamer Connects. So if you are in London and you want to meet up and talk Bitcoin games, we will be there. I guess like a delegation from Moon Match. And ZBD is basically they're essentially the bank. The transactions are all done through them. So if you get the game, you can follow the links in there. You can sign up for ZBD, get your ZBD wallet. And as long as you kind of go through that KYC process with them, they can begin sending you Satoshis every day. It's quite simple.
Yeah, it's totally simple. ZBD, love the ZBD team. And also our chat is super suspicious. They're super suspicious of everything we say. So don't mind them. Don't mind them too much. Though there is a good question here because I was wondering this as well. Like I said, I jumped on before. I wanted to play with it. I wish I knew how to connect this streaming software to my phone so I could like play it live with you guys. Maybe I can pull it up, but I saw my 3 sats and I'm like, is there a filter or like a threshold I have to get before I can get the sats out? Like, how does that work?
Oh, there might be it varies. So it basically, because we're using there you go. Because we're using ZBD in order to remit all of the payments to you guys. They will occasionally have certain thresholds. Generally, it's pretty low. I think it's like 20 sats as like a kind of threshold. So what we didn't want to do and kind of the way that we built this, like sometimes you'll play games or you'll see things like this where you have to like earn some ungodly number of either fiat currency or Bitcoin or something in order to withdraw. It's not something like this where it's like a huge amount. So at the end of the day, you're looking at something like the equivalent of like 20 cents in USD that you would need. Mostly the reason that's done is because you need a certain amount that covers just the like transaction fee, things like Visa. Like Visa will charge this sort of stuff if we want to get it into your bank account or any of the banks, but it's like 20 cents, so a pretty small amount. Yeah, hit me up with all of your most suspicious questions. I'm happy to answer that.
No, well, be careful what you wish for, because the chat. I don't know if you see the chat, but the chat is pretty savage here.
I have no. I just I'm opening this up now. I see booties first. I don't know what else. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I always say don't look at the chat, or be prepared for an onslaught of just nonsense and tomatoes, because that's what they do. But further, this is live on. I'm on iOS, so this is live on Google and iPhone.
Yep. iOS and Android. Best way to get it is to go to simplybitcoin.com, and you'll see at the header, free Bitcoin game. So that'll take you, if you're on your phone, it will take you directly to the App Store. If you're not on your phone, it's going to take you just to kind of like a landing page. That's what you see right there. If you're the type of person that's afraid to click on links on the internet, and you should be, because be careful out there. There are some suspicious links. Maybe not on simplybitcoin.com.
Hey, dude, don't call us scammers here. I get called that every day anyways.
Oh yeah. No, I'm gonna be doing all of those like man in the middle attacks on everybody clicking on that link. No. If you're suspicious or whatever reason, you don't have your phone there, open up on your device, go to the App Store or the Google Play Store, and just look up Moon Match, and we'll be there. Yeah, you can just search for it, and it's pretty easy to find.
Yeah. I got on the call with Jacob this morning, and I'm like, yo, do we have some assets? And I had that asset playing that I blew the surprise with. And so I was sitting there, and I just searched it. I searched the Moon Match. I'm like, oh, there it is. Like, it's live already. Let's go. Earning free Bitcoin instantly. Didn't have to sign up, guys. I just started playing. Super
easy. Yeah, you don't need to give us any of your information. It's not like one of those things. Since it's all through ZBD, which is a third party, it makes it much more easy to sign up, and where your information is. ZBD is, just so you guys know, they're basically a company. They're based in the UK. They have licenses. They have licenses all over the world, and they have a ton of different ways that you can withdraw currency. Their primary, and the one that they're most interested in, and the reason we're working with them, is because they're the only partner that will allow you to withdraw directly in Satoshi, so you can use it for Bitcoin. There's a few others out there. Maybe you've seen other rewarded games, and we'll have things like PayPal and Amazon gift cards and stuff like that. But we wanted something that was really specific to Web3, and more specifically for Bitcoin, and they're the only guys that can do it. It took an army of lawyers, I found out, in order for them to be able to do this. I think they spent the better part of 3 years just in some sort of like legal hell so they could get licensed. They are live in, I think, something like 100 countries. So if you're listening to this now, it would be the US, UK, Western Europe, Canada, Australia, all over the map, basically any place that it has a good relationship with American and British banking authorities. That's the standard they're going to use. You can use that to sign up, and they're adding more partners as they go. All of that is listed, I think, on their website, and we tried to also add some of those in the header and the description. But if you have any issues and you're from a country that you can't sign up for ZBD, just hit us up in support at roamergames.com. That's our studio. And we can contact ZBD to see what the hell is going on with adding more countries. But they're adding a lot more now.
Let's go. Okay, so you did mention there was going to be some more updates, and can the audience participate in feedback for updates? How is this a possibility? Because I know our chat is always telling us how to get better. That's their main job, is yelling at me to get better at everything. So I'm sure they will divert some of that attention away from me onto you guys now. So can they participate in feedback? And, you know, is there some sneak peek updates? We all know one. We're getting an Opti version up here soon enough.
Oh, hell yeah, we're getting an Opti. We are opting into that one. Yes, so audience feedback is essential for us. So we made this game. This is just like us dipping our toe into the water of creating these kind of games for you guys. We have some experience in building these, but never with a partner like Simply Bitcoin. And a big thing that we wanted to do is actually connect with people who are super knowledgeable about the space, who know where Bitcoin is headed, who know more about like DeFi in general. And so that's kind of why we wanted to connect with you guys. If you have feedback, there's myriad ways that you can give it to us. You can either just leave hopefully nice reviews on the App Store. You can contact us through support. You can join us on our Discord. You can message Simply Bitcoin and just give these guys all of your questions, and then they can send that to us. We're in constant communication. And in terms of upcoming stuff, we have a bunch of things planned. So we have more content, more levels. We want to add potentially more mini games. So right now there's like a little trivia mini game that we added. We're testing. We also want to do contests. So we know that at a certain point, you guys are going to master the gameplay of this. And once you get to that, we can begin to run contests for even bigger and bigger prizes. So if you're like, look, you know, the 100 or 200 bucks of Bitcoin I'm earning monthly is not enough. I want a chance to earn something that's pretty substantial. That's where we want to work in things like contests, tournaments, stuff like that.
Let's go. Well, knowing the chat and knowing that most of them hang out with me at midday every single day, I'm guessing this is going to become a significant amount of someone's income just by playing a game here. No, I'm trolling, guys. That was trolling. I'm trolling. I only know one of my friends that's unemployed and watches the show. All you other guys are stacking Bitcoin like normal people, but hey, maybe you want to jump on the game and stack some Bitcoin, stack some sats. We're here to get back to you guys. Stack them. Nate, anything else? Any final elevator pitch that you want to give to the audience? Because we're coming towards the end of the show, but I want to give you some more time to chat with the audience, chat directly to them about what you guys are building, maybe some other future plans, whatever you want. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So I would say the easiest part of this and kind of like the core pitch is that this is a super easy way to just start stacking sats. You can sit on the couch, play this. We tried to make it something where you can get into a bit of a flow state, so you can just keep playing and keep earning. As long as you're sitting there playing, there is no limit. We're not going to limit you via energy or any other things like that. As long as you are matching, it is relatively easy to continue to earn. And honestly, we need your feedback on this and to get good ideas of what to add further out. I mean, I think you're the players, and so you're going to know better than us even what's working and what's not working. Please continue to tell us. We have other games that we'd love to do too. So other ways that we can continue to provide you with opportunities to earn. Anything from stuff that maybe is easier, stuff that's harder, more core games, casual games. Really, we're going to want to get your feedback to know what is best. Likewise, if there's anything you don't like in the game, this would be the time to start to tell us what is there. But honestly, we're just really excited. We're really excited because of the community. We're really excited because you guys are so passionate about this, and we're just happy to be sitting in our little offices, a little sort of bare office right now, making games and sharing them with the rest of the world, and making games with Simply Bitcoin. Yeah, it's been pretty great.
That's awesome, man. Look, so I'm still only on level 4 again, guys. I only got on this morning, so you guys have probably already gotten farther than I have. But I do want to know, because I was thinking maybe a way to get more sats is like a expert mode where you have like a timer. Maybe you could beat the timer, then you get some more sats. But
ooh, that's cool.
I don't know if it builds to that. So, because I failed one level Well, I was trying to do it live, and I was like, oh, what happens if I don't? What happens if I fill up the whole thing? And I was like, oh, I fail. Okay, cool. Well, now I know how it works.
It is possible to fail. Yeah, there's actually a few different ways that we're planning to create these features where you can increase the rate that you're getting sats. A lot of it comes from some of the more what we call live ops features. So in gaming terminology, essentially live ops are events and activities that happen for a game, basically in a game. So the old way of making games is I'm going to give you a completed product. You're going to take this and you're going to make and you're going to play it and then it's over. But now you have games especially League of Legends, where you're you have these tournaments, you have new characters, you have new power-ups, you have new weapons, you have all this sort of stuff. Tournaments, sales, things like that. The more of these we do, the more events we do, it gives us the opportunity to have more ways to earn sats. So you can imagine just for sake of example, if we were to do a Christmas event, so we just had the Christmas holiday, but something like this, where every single day leading up to Christmas, we increase the number of levels in the tournament. We try to look how many can you beat at any given time? How many can you beat with certain parameters, certain difficulty levels? And as we stack up that difficulty, it gives you more and more ways to beat your opponents. We're lucky, we just started, we just launched this. We have a lot of time together that we can be building and working on this game. And as the year progresses, we'll have the opportunity to launch new games. We're a pretty small, nimble studio. So if you're looking for more ways, another way to earn additional Bitcoin is just to play additional games, right? So I could my vision is just a suite of Simply Bitcoin games. So we can get anything from these kind of casual things together to more, hardcore games, your League of Legends types, your, whatever. So that you can keep earning in different ways. Sometimes you want something where you're going to be focusing, maybe making wagers, right? You can imagine playing poker for Bitcoin, but legally on your phone anywhere in the world, versus something where maybe you're just earning a few here or there while you're on the bus. That's kind of the ultimate vision for what we're trying to do together here. But we will need your help and your feedback to get there.
Let's go, Nate. Well, let's see if I can beat level 4 after this show.
I think you can. I believe in you.
All right, Nate. Well, appreciate it. Actually, how about plug your Twitter and the Roamer Twitter so that people can get in touch with you, and we'll wrap up today's episode.
Sure. We should be, I think it's, oh man, I feel so bad about this. We have a Twitter for our crypto crawler, but I think probably the best way is if they ping you guys, and then we'll that way. Our Twitter is sort of sad. I don't even want to.
All right, no worries, no worries. All right, guys. I guess give me all the feedback. We'll get it to Nate. But Nate, yes. Thank you so much. I know you've been talking with our boy Wine about this. Wine's super excited. And we got the official launch. So go to the, Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and search Moon Match, and you can stack some stats. Or go to simplybitcoin.com. It's there.
It's right there on the homepage.
There we go. All right, Nate. Well, thank you so much for coming on today's show. Hang out in the back for a second, and I will wrap up today's show. All righty then, guys. Here we are. We're at the end of the show. We love you. We appreciate you. I guess we got no Nico today, so that's why I was able to get a little bullish on today's show. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. I might be holding down the duties all week long. I got the team on my back, though. But it's all good. On that note, love you guys. Have a good rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. That's without a fact. All right, later.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.